나와 신나 붙번게 또 신나 샤바와키 신나무 기그라니 짜이 샤바기라니 짜이무 기그라니
Yep, you guessed it. All those people are in a love trouble with Clint, including the dudes. Welcome back. Beautiful and amazing human beings. My name is Luke Rudowski here of thebestpoliticalshow.com, and we will be going live for the next 2 hours discussing all the latest and craziest news developing right now, as of course there never is a shortage of things to talk about, as it looks like 2 Americans are reportedly attacked in Turkey by some protesters, as Turkey is looking to join BRICS. What's going on here as the European Union is starting to buy more and more Russian gas? All of this as Biden now is admitting that we are very low on ammunition, which really isn't that smart. In other related not smart news, Kamala Harris is pandering to the black vote, which she's trying really hard to pull off. All of this as there are some other very interesting developments happening right now in Brazil with the larger VPN ban that was just unbanned. What's going on here? Well, we'll be discussing that, plus a lot more, all here for the next 2 hours on this independent media broadcast. We would ask you guys to please share this broadcast with your friends and family members. It means a lot to us when you do that, since, of course, we're fighting an uphill battle with the algorithm. As you guys know, we work very hard here. We have some incredible people in studio here, and one of the few ways that this show actually gets out there to the general public is when you directly get involved and actually share it with the people you know in your life. Another way to participate in this show is to sign up to lookunfiltered.com. When you do that, you get the ability to call into the show and be a part of it. You get to speak to everyone that is watching in a totally unfiltered way. That could be you today, just by simply signing up to lookunfiltered.com and then going to the Telegram channel and letting me know that you want to call in. I'm in the Telegram channel right now, and so far, no one wants to call in. You could be that caller. Sign up, and I will see you there very shortly. As, of course, we will be doing our best to read any and all Super Chats, but, of course, we'll be prioritizing mysuperchat.com from Streamlabs. That only takes a 3% service charge rather than a 30% service charge that YouTube normally does. We had other guests planned here. They canceled. But we have other great people that have stepped in and joined us for today's broadcast. One of them is Andrew Meyer, someone that I've known for an extremely long time, a very illustrious, very crazy individual that is known for being tasered. Who are you, Andrew?
What a wonderful introduction, Luke. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm.
We got the B team here.
Yeah,
guys.
I'm today's fill-in. I'm today's seat warmer. Thank you, Luke.
hey, that seat's gonna be very warm after you sit in it.
Okay, great. Yeah.
In fairness, I've never been tased, so you got that.
Yeah.
You got that going for you.
Yeah, that's a big feather in my cap. Also, the creator of the Alex Jones video game.
Great video game.
AlexJonesGame.com. You got to play it on stream.
Great video game, yeah. We might do that.
Let's go.
Yep, so.
Play it on stream. Let the people see how fun it is.
We're setting up a second studio here, and then the second studio is going to be video games as well. So we're working on that as well. So
go.
Alex Jones video games will be one of them as well. So it's always great to have you, Andrew. We always appreciate you, and we go back. Like the stories we broke, the things that we've done, absolutely incredible. So it's always great to have you here.
Thank you, brother.
Even though our guest canceled. Lauren De Laguna is also in the house here as well. She's not controversial at all. No drama with her at all. She's great.
Yep, I am. I'm awesome. I'm great.
Who are you, Lauren? What's your name? And who are you for the people who don't know you?
My name's Lauren De Laguna. I do YouTube content sometimes, not in a long time. And I'm an attorney, and I'm Jewish. And so, yeah, there's that. That's basically who I am.
I'm Clint. I'm a podcaster, and I am not Jewish.
Yet.
He wishes.
I wish I were.
Working on it.
Anyways, at Liberty Lockpod on X, if you want to support my work, subscribe there. I'll follow you back. Liberty Lockdown is the show. I also do Tower Gang, which you should never, ever watch. And we got stuff on the buttons
There's
today.
so many jokes I want to make right now that I have to shut up. I just have to stop myself.
Save them for hour two.
We'll save it for hour two, but I have something to say about IQs. But Steph.
Hey everybody, this is Steph. We are Change. You can find me on X at StephWRC, and I'm here to push the buttons.
All right, let's get into it because there's always so many things to talk about. As one of the videos that's going viral right now is specifically showing what looks like American soldiers in Turkey getting attacked as a crowd screams, "Yankee, go home." This, as the latest reports are coming in, that people are being arrested and detained from this. This is according to the Mirror. What exactly is going on here? It's kind of strange. The video looks kind of weird. It looks like they're sort of like attacking him, holding him down, but not really. And then another guy kind of jumps in, as now we're getting reports that the U.S. Embassy is confirming that this incident happened against U.S. service members and that currently they are safe. As, of course, this kind of international geopolitical situation is very timely, as it looks like Turkey is also trying to join on the side of China and Russia, officially kind of asking to join the BRICS nations. Very telling, as of course, Turkey is a major geopolitical player. It always kind of tries to play both sides of conflicts. It's also a major country in determining the future of the Middle East and Europe. So this video is kind of very timely. A lot of people are talking about it. What is your guys' reaction to all of this?
Let Clint take this one. I was deeply uncurious just because I had no background on what was happening there. If I get no context, I always wait to see what's actually going on. Clint might know, though.
So the reports are coming in that a nationalistic Turkish youth group in Turkey is taking it upon themselves to kind of attack the soldiers that are there, as the United States has a lot of their soldiers, a lot of their resources, a lot of their military hardware in the region. And of course, the United States, especially after what happened in 2001, doesn't have the best kind of international track record. Let's just say that. And I think America, by and large, is over the last few years seemed to be kind of deemed more negative than positive on the world stage. And I think this is a kind of response to that. And, seeing these videos, they are kind of shocking. The guy literally gets a bag put over his head. And to have American soldiers kind of treated this way, I think is largely symbolic of how foreigners view America and our impact on the world.
Personal opinion, after watching the video many, many times, because it just didn't sit right with me, I'm going to be the truther on this one. I don't actually think it's real. I think it's staged. If you look at the footage, you guys,
Well, we can't really show too much of it because
Well, then people can look it up for themselves. But
yeah, that did look weird. Just looking at it right there again.
Yeah,
we'll play we won't play the full video because YouTube has weird rules, specifically when it comes to violence.
Is this violent?
I think
sort
that's
of.
relatively violent.
Sort of.
Yeah.
It's
Huddle, you
weird.
guys.
And then you see
Watch the second dude come in.
It does look like
the
it's
second
staged.
dude's kind of weird too, but the guy gets like a bag put over his head, and then the guy kind of jumps in like he's in a mosh pit.
He kind of looks like he's smiling.
It's very weird.
Well, it's unfortunate we can't play it for you guys, but just you can take my word for it or you can look for yourself. The second dude runs in there, and it looks like he's obviously going to save his compatriot. He doesn't throw a punch. The guy the biggest guy that's allegedly kidnapping this dude, black bagging him and taking him off to Guantanamo or whatever, he also doesn't punch him. Like he swings, but then he stops like right before he hits the guy. It strikes me as an op. I'm just being honest with you. As to the why, the people of Turkey are very upset with the United States' support for Israel. They obviously feel a level of kinship to the people of Gaza. So that's the alleged explanation as to why this would be transpiring. I'm just not at all sure that it's real. So the reason for why it would be faked or overblown or turn into a story, I think it could have a lot to do with the fact that Turkey wants to join BRICS, and as a member of NATO, that would be a huge deal, as Luke already detailed. Along with Iran, it's probably Turkey and Iran are like the leaders of the Muslim, Arab, Middle Eastern world.
Along with Saudi Arabia as well. They
Sure.
play a major role as well.
Sure. But yeah, I think that's the main reason that they're trying to start kind of a negative campaign against the Turkish people. So that's my read of it for now. But I'm not at all convinced that it's even a real event. Just being straight with you guys.
Yeah, it looks a little weird. Like the guy gives like a little punch, but he could have just been like freaking out and not knowing what to do. Like, holy cow, my friend's being blackbacked.
I know that
started out there. So there could be multiple kind of explanations here, but I think this does highlight the larger kind of discontent between the world community and America,
For sure.
and where we stand geopolitically. And and I think the stories are related, specifically with officially Turkey seeking to join the BRICS nations, which would be a very significant update to world politics, American hegemony, the U.S. petrodollar. This is a major deal, as a lot of people are talking about how the BRICS nations are trying to create new kind of currencies, new kind of banking systems outside of the current one that the majority of the world is under, the American one. And I think when those larger kind of economic wars are kind of expanding in so many different ways, it definitely does seem like things could escalate very quickly, and there could be larger economic consequences that will be happening that will be devastating to our economy and to all the countries that are on the dollar as well.
There has been increased saber rattling from Erdogan, who's the leader of Turkey, regarding the Israel-Palestine war. So I think that's probably the reason that they're aligning themselves with BRICS, is that they realize that the people of their country, whatever the leadership's actual opinions and beliefs are, is kind of secondary to what their people believe. And their people perceive the Palestinians to be the victims at this junction, and they want the Turkish government to intervene on their behalf. So I think they realize that this current alliance setup with NATO is not tenable for them if they want to continue to maintain control or a position of power over their people, because their people are rejecting that paradigm. So I think that's the main like shakeup in the geopolitical sphere right now, is like Turkey is the number one NATO member that exists in the Middle East. To lose them is a really big deal, and it continues to set us on the path for a potential
Well,
world
they're
war.
kind of an odd country to have a part of NATO. They're like, well, why are they really there? Their kind of membership was kind of contested, but geopolitically, a lot of Western elites were like, we kind of really do need to have them, to have a foothold inside of the Middle East, to have the Russia also kind of counteracted there, but they're kind of turning more and more closer to the Russian sphere of influence than the American one. Newsweek has it here, and they talked to one Turkish diplomat that described that a lot of this is, quote, accumulated frustrations in Turkey with the West and the European Union. And yes, there definitely is a divide. There definitely is a lot of really crazy developments happening in the world right now that are very concerning. As of course, we also got European news reports now describing how many European Union countries are importing more gas from Russia than the United States. This is even with the explosion of the Nord Stream pipeline that the Germans now are officially saying it was a bunch of Ukrainians that just did this for about $100,000. We know the people who did it. We know the people who rented the boat. We know how they were using scuba diving gear. And their own investigation turned out, as they publicly released to the general public, that it was Ukraine acting allegedly in a rogue fashion, probably with the assistance of the CIA and the State Department, but acting, according to the Germans, in a rogue fashion that took down this pipeline. And now there are serious considerations and conversations about reparations that Ukraine might have to pay to Germany for this larger act that, according to the German investigators, was actually officially approved by Volodymyr Zelensky, and then last minute was kind of canceled, and he tried to stop this attack and then wasn't able to, of course, stop it. The attack kind of went on and created one of the largest ecological disasters on the face of this earth. Now, whether that reported incident is true or not, it is still significant that they said it in this kind of larger specific way.
Of course. Yeah. No, it's super important. I just don't buy at all that he tried to stop it. I mean, the whole reason that attack was taken out was because they wanted to divide Europe from Russia. That's what this whole war is actually about, because they've always realized that having Germany in alliance with Russia is the most dangerous alliance that can exist because of their
engineering skills and natural resources that they have that complement each other perfectly, that would create a kind of new hegemony on the world that they're afraid of them kind of colluding and coming together on.
This is largely what World War II was about too. So I Seymour Hersh had this report a year plus ago. I mean, we've known that it was not Russia that blew up their own pipeline for their number one export. It's an absurdity. It was absurd on its face from the get-go. It's just ridiculous.
No ish. As of course, a family-friendly show here. The corporate media should have apologized as soon as Germany came out with their own investigation into this, saying, "Yeah, it was the Ukrainians. They did this. They did this with this guy. They did this with this budget, with this boat." The American corporate Western media should have been like, "Oopsie, sorry guys. We apologized for gaslighting you, lying to you." And telling you that Russia shot itself in the foot and blew up one of its larger pipelines that, of course, was providing a lot of the gas into Europe that they're still importing to this day because it is cheaper, it is more readily available than, of course, the more expensive American gas that the Americans are trying to force on the Europeans. That plan didn't work. Therefore, it signals also larger problems for the U.S. petrodollar. There was also a larger plan to build a pipeline from Saudi Arabia through Syria, through Turkey to Europe in order to bypass Russia. Geopolitically, that plan got really screwed up, especially when, of course, the Syrian government stood up to all the Islamists and radicals that the United States financed and paid for. So there's a lot of different things at play here, but a lot of this kind of boils down to natural resources, to energy. There's resource wars happening right now in Africa where the Russians are financing governments in order to counteract France's ability to get uranium, to finance for their nuclear capabilities, to finance their larger nuclear power plants that they now rely on. As of course, this is a kind of critical juncture that France is in right now, where the Russians are countering them in Africa, of all countries, that could have a very significant negative blow to them and would make them even more dependent on Russian gas.
Just a brief tangent to your point of the media should be apologizing us for the deception about the Nord Stream attack. They told us for 4+ years that Donald Trump was a Russian asset and had been foisted upon the American people based off of $100,000 worth of Facebook ads. They're never going to apologize. These people are pathological liars. And apparently the American people have the memory of a goldfish because they've all moved on. And they still listen to these people as if they have any honor or honesty whatsoever. It's reprehensible.
Yeah, I don't trust them. I don't trust whatever they say. I always question everything. And yeah, that footage in Turkey is weird, but it also kind of highlights the bigger news, which is Turkey announcing, "Hey, we're looking at the BRICS here. They look pretty good with the way that things are going geopolitically."
That's the real story.
That's the real story. That's the troubling story, especially if you have all of your wealth in the U.S. petrodollar.
The way I look at it, just thinking about the upcoming election and Trump possibly getting in office, the story before he was elected the first time was that Russia was open to doing business with the U.S., but his ensuing administration wasn't super friendly to Russia, probably to counteract the narrative, the propaganda saying that he was a Russian agent. And then Biden's been completely anti-Russia, funding Ukraine, giving them weapons. So the question I would have is it possible for a Trump administration to roll back and have any sort of friendly ties with Russia? We all know the Russia thing was a hoax now. You know, it's years later. Would he still be unfriendly to them to try and counter propaganda? Or can we end this brewing, potential world war? There's no reason for Russia and the United States to be enemies. Is there something that Trump can do about it? And he's the only hope. Kamala for sure is going to continue what 100%. The globalists and the Democrats are currently doing, which is pushing us towards war.
Well, the Russians came out through a spokesperson from the Kremlin and literally came out and said, we doubt that Trump could end this war in 24 hours because Donald Trump's going around the political circuit saying, I'll end it right away. And the Russians are saying, we don't think so. We don't think that's going to be happening here. I did a big deep dive on this story earlier on, but it definitely does seem, when you look at American foreign policy, it's like, what are you doing? It's like, are you deliberately trying to tank America? Are you deliberately trying to tank Western civilization?
Yes.
And when you start looking for that perspective, it's like, yeah, that absolutely makes sense, especially when you look at this latest story as President Joe Biden just admitted that we are running out of ammunition. Yes, you heard that correctly. He was asked about this before. Donald Trump had a very particular, interesting response to this, but here's the 3-second clip of Joe Biden, in his own words, saying we've run out of ammunition.
Mr. President, any update on the cocaine? Mr. President, I cluster munitions. Why now?
We've run out of ammunition.
Yeah.
That's horrible. You should always have a stockpile. But even if you didn't have a stockpile, you pretend like you have a stockpile. Why would you admit to all of your enemies that you are out of ammunition? That's just a welcome to attack whatever they want to attack.
It's also a war crime. Cluster munitions are are known for massive collateral damage. So I think that's the sad part that will not be covered in the corporate news coverage of the statement.
But they're using them in Ukraine. The Russians are using them.
I
The
know,
Ukrainians
I
are
know.
using them. It's awful.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's I think when you actually are interested in diminishing civilian loss of life, you would not be using these types of munitions. The fact that the American government and my taxpayer dollars are being used to purchase these weapons to kill undoubtedly many innocents is really disturbing.
Yeah, Donald
me
Trump responded to this because he was asked about this on Fox News. This is what he had to say.
They announced we had no ammunition. And I said, number one, who's the stupid person saying that? You could tell a couple of people, but who's the person that wants to say the United States has no ammunition? We're giving it to all of our people all over the world, in particular Ukraine. We're giving them massive, billions of dollars of stuff. And I rebuilt our military, all in 4 years. I had great people doing this. And I restocked our ammunition. We had so much ammunition, it was coming out the gills, as they say. We had missiles, now we don't have ammunition. How would you like to be President Xi sitting there saying America has no ammunition?
Exactly.
We're so vulnerable.
Yeah, that's a stupid move geopolitically. It's like, hey, world, we don't have any bullets for our firearms.
It's absurd.
Come on in.
It's absurd too. I mean, like, this is America. We have such immense capacity to build and create munitions. It just demonstrates how reckless we've been in giving our munitions to other countries in these proxy wars. The vast majority of it, as he said, is going to Ukraine, which is a proxy war against a nuclear power. It's crazy.
Also, we have certain laws that make it so that the president could essentially ask companies to create companies that do other manufacturing.
Yeah.
We could ask
He
them
did that
to,
in 2020.
Exactly. During COVID, we had different companies create masks and create pop-up hospitals and all of these things to help with COVID. If we're running low on ammunition, it's a slap in the face to every single American soldier to not be using that in order to create more ammunition.
I think it's worse than reckless. I think this stuff is intentional. When we left Afghanistan and we left all that weaponry, I don't think it was a surprise to them that the Taliban raced in, resold it all over the place.
Repurposed it. They didn't sell it. They have it now. They still have parades, and they still have like 5 competent guys that could fly a helicopter without crashing it. Luckily, they crashed a lot of them though.
Yeah.
Some of it they're selling off, and then you have to recognize also our politicians have been giving our military secrets to China for many decades. So we're giving away our armaments. We're giving away our technology.
What other nation have we given our military secrets to?
Tell me, Clint.
Just kidding. We'll save that.
I
for
think there's
hours.
one country.
The
There's one
point-
country in the Middle East.
And Israel, all right. We have our
There you go.
entire space defense system is because Israel came up with the Iron Dome.
Oh,
And
you're
so-
gonna go that direction with it.
The point being, the politicians in office for decades have been selling off America, the military, the armaments. They want us to fall. They're being paid to sell us out.
Yeah, we're being hollowed
And
out.
As much problem, like there's a lot of issues.
The oil reserves too. That's another one.
Yeah, well, they shut down as soon as Biden got in office. They shut down the Keystone XL pipeline that was
Yeah.
supposed to deliver massive amounts of oil, so we're not dependent on the Saudis or anybody else.
And then he drained the strategic petroleum reserve
Yeah.
because gas prices were too high and it was terrible for re-election chances. But what does that mean? It means that if we were to actually end up in a war, we'd be screwed.
Right. And I mean, the old story of the Clintons leaving the White House and they're literally like taking furniture and silverware. Like, these people are looters.
Yeah.
The Democrats, most of the Republicans, these people are looters. They're looting the country. Hollowed out, the phrase someone used, I think it was Clint.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. And as many issues as I have with Trump not hiring loyalists and some of the things his campaign is doing, the only chance we have of this country being strong and salvaging itself is to elect Trump. And if we have another 4 years, Kamala, America's finished.
Yeah, it's like the Titanic is sinking, and they're like, "Let's steal all the silverware." Like, the ship is sinking, guys. Like, don't you understand what's happening here? And a lot of these moves, especially with the oil reserves, especially with this ammunition, could be a kind of last-ditch effort with them understanding that they probably will lose in the next few days. And when they do, they want to make sure that they give everything away to put Donald Trump in a really horrible situation that they could later blame all the problems on, saying, look, we don't have energy. Energy is pretty expensive. We're not energy independent now. All the reserves are tapped. We have no ammunition. We got to spend money here as well. And you pass the buck down the line. And I think it's not just the buck. I think they crapped on the buck. And then they're passing it to potentially Donald Trump, who's going to have a very horrible situation that he's going to have to deal with, that he's going to have to print and spend more money in order to get out of.
Let's just add also that this is not strictly a Democrat issue. I mean, Mike Johnson and the GOP, by and large, has been very supportive of these munitions and these aid packages that have been sent to Ukraine. So it's
Donald Trump
versus
too.
the machine.
Well, Donald Trump too. But
yes,
Donald
you're
Trump
right.
said he came in and made it a loan component. The last billions of dollars that we sent to Ukraine, that Ukraine will pay back if they win this conflict, which they probably won't.
I mean, they just got, I think it was F-16s. I could be wrong. Maybe it's 15s, whatever. They just got F-16s put into Ukraine, and they're allegedly using them against Russian soldiers. I mean, this is super dangerous. Like this escalatory trap that we've been in for the past 2+ years now. There's no end in sight. There's very little political will to do so. It seems like the Israel-Palestine war may come to an end before the Russia-Ukraine war does at this point. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. You guys want to say anything on that?
No, I think Clint nailed it.
Steph, we have some super chats. You want to go read them? Don't read the bad word.
Okay. We have Switzerland Play IT saying Klaus Schwab is a
Bad word.
bad word for sure.
Thank you.
Aw, I kind of want to say it. Switzerland Play IT also says, have given up on Sophia. She just not want to. She just does not want to.
Good for you, buddy. Give up.
What does that mean?
No,
We don't know.
Sophia.
Klaus Schwab is the final bad guy in the Alex Jones video game, by the way. AlexJonesGame.com.
And we have one more from Clint's Itchy Pride Hole.
Yeah.
Saying,
What?
Hola,
We have two more.
amigos. Happy Labor Day. Looks like Clint will definitely be doing some labor with those ladies.
And then there's 2 more on the screen on YouTube.
And then we got Red Viking saying, we want the doodle. And Clint's girlfriends are hot.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that.
Is that a call out for my dog? Yes. They
what I'm
love my
thinking.
dog. Let's go.
Oh, the doodle.
One person
That's
does.
what it is.
And
That's
then-
Red Viking.
Thank you.
One more.
And we got Shelly Babe saying, what about the Hells Angels in Colorado?
Fake.
Aussie.
Yeah, the Yakuza are coming too, I heard. And
So are the Sopranos.
The Sopranos are coming too.
The X-Men.
So it's you'll be saved,
Avengers.
Colorado. Just put all of your hope in random people online posting videos of
I don't
bikers going
think-
by.
It's kind of humorous, like how overblown people's opinions are of like how biker gangs work. Like they don't do that stuff for just like vigilante. Like they do it if they get messed with. Like they protect their own. They're a gang. They protect their own. But they're not gonna just be like, oh, there's some random apartment complex that's been taken over by this Venezuelan gang. Everybody get on their bikes and go thousands of miles to stop them. Like this is not how it works, man.
Yeah.
I wish it did. That'd be
It'd
cool.
be a good
but-
movie.
Yeah, it'd be a good movie. Exactly.
But yeah, we have Kamala Harris that could also be the next leader of this country, as of course she is touring around and giving public statements like this.
You better thank a union member
Thank them.
for the 5-day work week. You better thank a union member for sick leave. You better thank a union member for paid leave. You better thank a union member for vacation time.
She's from Canada, for frick's sakes. Her parents were 2 PhDs, and she grew up in a very rich neighborhood compared to how everyone else is living right now.
Can't
and
handle it.
now
It's so
we have Black
embarrassing.
Kamala.
She's Indian and Jamaican, right?
Lord, you gotta thank the union.
We have the second portion
an
of the speech.
actress.
We have
That's
the
what she
we have the
is.
second portion of the speech right here.
Back before the war broke out, I was a saucier in San Antone. I bet I could call up some of them greens. Yeah, noodle some crawfish out the patio. I made us some crab apples for dessert now, yeah? Hey, yeah! Ha!
I haven't. No difference between the two.
Yeah, Robert Downey Jr. He should play Black Panther next.
I sent you a clip where Kamala was responding to Trump calling her not black. Did you see that?
No, I did not see that.
Oh God, it's yeah.
We saw it. She said,
was
next
getting-
question, please.
Yeah, yes, she said next. Like she refuses to respond to the fact that she is indeed not not black.
This debate that they're going to be doing in a few days, that we're going to be live for, but Roger Stone, is going to be fascinating. Because you could see Donald Trump being like, you ain't black. and then like the ABC anchors be like, oh crap, oh here we go. And everyone just kind of wincing in this kind of very uncertain kind of situation that's going to be very bombastic and very crazy, which everyone expects to be. It could be boring, who knows. Trump is hit or miss sometimes, but I think this being the only chance he has, I think he's definitely going to try to be as popular and as favorable as he can. And I think he's going to try to, hit back against Kamala, who's leading in some polls for some reason, in a very kind of interesting way. But this kind of pandering, this is kind of not just cringy, but this is also kind of embarrassing. And it highlights the true kind of Democratic platform. They don't have any policies. What are they running on? What are they going to be doing? What are they going to change in our lives? Nothing. They've been in charge for the past 12 out of 16 years, and this is the current situation that we are under them from. And you somehow are going to try to promote joy in all these very difficult economic times, in the times where our soldiers are literally getting allegedly beat up in the streets of Turkey, where our biggest allies are thinking about joining the other side, where there's some significant questions about our viability to even defend ourselves. What are you doing? These are policies that, of course, are unattainable, unwinnable. But hey, she cooks collard greens, yo.
Let's just get through the next 64 days. How about that?
Let's just get through the next 64 days. How about that? I mean, it's not even about the accent. It's about the disingenuousness.
Exactly.
Like what matters is not what she's doing. It's indicative of who she is as a person. She is a shape-shifting chameleon, and I don't mean that literally. I just mean like she will be whatever you need her to be to get as far into the power structure as possible. She is a conduit for the money to interests. She is not a real human being by any like normal definition. And I think that's what's so reprehensible about like her, this campaign, the fact she's been foisted upon us, the fact that there's been no democratic process by which she has been given. We've been given this binary choice of her versus Trump, and the fact that she is neck and neck with him is an atrocity.
But it makes you wonder, like, this is really what they're running on? I mean, this can't be popular amongst people. This can't win people over. And this is the best that they have. This is their strategy. They have all the data in the world. They spy on everyone. They have the full apparatus of the NSA that's able to, of course, hive mind the American public in such a way. And this is what you got. This is the best thing you could come out of with.
It begs the question.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't fear the election because they don't fear the election.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
or maybe they just want Donald Trump to kind of take it, because if he takes it, they'll be able to blame all the stuff for him. And the plan is let him have it, tank the economy, destroy America from within, have him try to fix it. He won't be able to.
Maybe.
Have him print more money, put him in a corner where, of course, everyone will blame all the problems we created just on
But
him.
what's the
I think
point
that
of that perspective? Because he only gets 4 more years if possible, right? So at the end of the day, really, what's the point of that? Just to get at Trump?
No, it would crush any sort of populist right-wing movement in this country for a generation, because he is the symbolic figurehead
Okay,
of that.
got it.
So if you have the economy blow up, if you have wars break out, then it's not about him. It's about the movement that supports him.
This clip you sent me, is it safe to play, Clint?
Yeah.
So this is live footage of Donald Trump doing his debate prep for Kamala.
And how does that call you, like?
You can call me Donald.
For real. Okay. It's Trump, innit?
Right.
Remember at the beginning, what you
TR. It's up there.
You can fast forward a little bit.
So how long world?
Music.
No.
Tell me.
Ice cream.
Okay.
Everyone has it. And what is the problem with ice cream?
I have no idea.
It drips.
Okay.
So my idea is what?
Need to make a drip-proof ice cream.
No. Oh, that's a fucking brilliant idea. All right, whatever. You ain't going to come out with that, though.
No, I promise you I won't.
Well, my idea is to come out with just like these ice cream gloves that make the ice cream not go on your hands and make it all well sticky. And also keep your hands warm when you was eating the ice cream.
Seems like a democratic policy, and if there was a way to debate prep, that would probably be it. As of course,
does that sound kind of like her?
Yeah.
With like the passage of time stuff, like I know I'm joking, but like she doesn't sound much smarter than Ali G.
No, she doesn't. She sounds like a white kid trying to be black, in like the worst possible horrible ways, which is just absolutely disingenuous.
What I
It's
love
absolutely
about that
fake.
clip, if you finish it, Trump is like one of the only people, if not the only one, that was smart enough to walk out on Ali G. He's like, oh, okay, this is a joke.
Yeah.
Like, see you later.
No,
well,
it's
you
a
know
parody.
it's not quite a parody. It's like that actor goes around interviewing politicians and totally messing with them. He has different characters.
Yeah, he plays
that
Borat,
plays
and you know.
Yeah.
They think he's being real, but he's playing a character.
Yeah.
They don't know that it's
We
a
Are
character.
America, right?
Yeah, he's Borat.
It's We Are America.
He tried to be fruity with Ron Paul. Ron Paul didn't have any of it.
Ron Paul don't play.
Ron Paul got out of there. He was
There
like,
you go.
I'm not doing any of this fruitcake stuff.
That and Rudy Giuliani got
That's what he said, right?
mixed into it.
I think
right?
he said the other bad word we can't say here. If I
Nice.
remember.
Oh,
so.
wow.
Sacha Baron Cohen. That's
Love
his
Ron
name.
Paul.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So look, I sent it to Luke to have it played as a joke, but like it's crazy to me that it's not that far from what we're actually up against. And yes, to your point, Luke, I don't understand how half the country. I mean, let's just be honest. Half the country is not voting for Kamala Harris. Maybe 10% of the country is voting for her. The other 40%, they are voting against Trump. Like they have done such an incredible job of polarizing and basically propagandizing the American people to perceive him as this existential threat, while the current regime and the vice president of the current regime, which is currently destroying the country, destroying your civil liberties, risking World War III, destroying the currency. I mean, that's not a threat to you?
No.
Are you allowed to talk on YouTube now about like the security of the election, or is that
No,
still
you're
a
not.
no-go
No,
zone?
no.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
never
You already
mind.
violated two rules, Lauren.
No.
Anyway,
I think we might be able to, but let's not risk it. We'll
To
do it.
Alrighty.
Clint's point, though,
My bad.
we're at the point, like, they're arguing that boys can be girls. Like, once you're at the point that you're arguing that and literally making that a nationwide issue, these people will believe and say anything. They are completely propagandized.
Well, I think the scarier thing is it's not even that we're having that argument. It's that there is another side of that debate to have that argument with, and they actually consist of about half of the country.
Yeah.
Like that is the crazy thing. Like, it's such a massive distraction. But I think like once you have the people divided on such absurdities, well, then obviously they're totally manipulated into whatever the regime, whatever the power structure wants them to be in support of. And in this instance, it's Kamala Harris.
You don't like Kamala Harris? Did you just fall out of a coconut tree?
I'm not a fan. No, not a fan of Kamala Harris. But just again, I made this point yesterday, and I made this one on Twitter a few days ago. It's not about Kamala Harris. Like, if I end up supporting Donald Trump, it will be because I am in opposition to the regime.
yeah, Clint's supporting Chase Oliver, standing with
Wait
the
a minute.
libertarian line officially.
I will not
So-
be supporting Chase Oliver.
Wait a minute. If your guy RFK, he's standing with Trump, you're not on the Trump train?
Well, RFK was never my guy, first off, but I am very grateful that he has agreed to go into Trump's camp, and I'm grateful that Trump accepted him with open arms. I would like to hear. I'm waiting to hear more from Trump. Like, for instance, I think RFK has done a better job of explaining the history of the build-up to the Ukraine-Russia war. Trump talks about peace. He doesn't talk about the lead-up, and I think it's probably because he doesn't know it, and that's fine. Peace is what matters most, so I'm not being overly critical here. But I would like to hear more about that, and I would like, more than anything, I want to hear, will he listen to RFK Jr. when it comes to seeking out the criminals that are responsible for 2020? If he does that, then he'll have my vote. If he doesn't, then I will have to think about it. I don't know.
I think we're at a point where I'll just take any victories we could get. Yeah. It's not looking too good for America, for the economy and where we're standing, especially when it comes to global freedoms. And Kamala is doing her best to try to distance herself away from Joe Biden. And they're doing that in many different ways, especially with what we've seen at the DNC. But there's no way she could distance herself. You show that clip to the average American that we just played of her kind of pandering with this weird accent. Everyone's like, that's unlikable. Like, they know that she is extremely not favorable to the general public. That's why she's hiding away from the press. She's not doing any interviews. She's not doing any press conferences. She's not taking any kind of questions sporadically from random people. Everything is tightly controlled. And I think this debate truly will be possibly just another kind of Donald Trump win over her, since of course she was, with the DNC arguing that they should have cheat sheets, that they should be able to sit down. They won't. And this is why, even in enemy territory for Donald Trump, ABC News, who's going to be hosting the debate, it's going to be fascinating to see how all of this kind of unfolds for the American public that's going to be paying attention to all of this. Because sadly, a lot of people aren't fed this type of these type of clips of Kamala. Sadly, a lot of people aren't seeing this. They're seeing a lot of the corporate controlled narrative about her, which is that she's great and wonderful, even though she doesn't speak to them, even though she doesn't give them any attention. The corporate media still does their bidding for them, and are the brown nosers for her, as she's literally ignoring them and not giving them anything for them to even work with.
Important.
She did give them one thing, and I was shocked she did this. That interview she did on CNN, she was falling over herself. She was so bad. Like, they recorded an hour and they only aired 19 minutes. And I was shocked they even aired those 19 minutes. So,
this is the point I was going to bring up. It's a super important point. You guys remember the 51 former and active intel agents that Hunter Biden's had all the hallmarks of Russian disinformation? Dana Bash, the only person she has sat down for an interview with over the past 6 weeks since she's been the nominee, or we knew she was going to be the nominee, is the wife of one of those 51 agents.
Amazing.
That's crazy. I mean, that is how incestual the deep state apparatus is.
In related deep state news, we have George Clooney now coming out and praising Joe Biden for, quote, stepping aside, as he describes, quote, the most selfish thing since George Washington. I don't think he did it willingly. I don't think he was a participant here, as George Clooney
these
makes
are the people
him to
that
be.
we're up against.
Yeah.
How do we lose to these people? They're such obvious imbeciles. I don't understand how this is even like a competition. George Clooney is probably a CIA asset, by the way.
Yes, absolutely, 100%, probably. Allegedly.
100% probably.
Yeah, 100% allegedly, probably, so we don't get sued here. But all the stuff he does, all the initiatives he kind of puts out there, the kind of larger teamwork that he does with the Obamas more specifically here, it's kind of very telling. And, the CIA does have a long track record of hiring a lot of actors. And this, to me, is just absolute just shilling by the establishment here. These comments are pretty crazy, but this is the kind of mindset. This is the type of propaganda that we're kind of dealing with here. The most selfless thing since George Washington?
No.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a hero. Joe Biden, that was forced out of office, literal child molester, molested his own child, as well as children on camera in the halls of Congress. He's a hero, guys. And it's a hard decision. Kamala, Trump, like these are very difficult things to figure out.
It's crazy because Trump lost so much money and became a hated persona by running for president. Like, he used to be a loved figure by both the left and the right, and now he's only loved by the right and hated by the media and the left. And running for president was a truly selfless act on Trump's behalf, losing so much. He lost who he was as a person and as a political or as like a media figure. He lost a ton of money. Whereas Joe Biden, there's evidence that Hunter was just like, I need you to run for president again so that I get a second win, so that I get a second shot at not being, known as being a crackhead. And it's literally the most selfish thing. He did it just for himself and for his family. He didn't think beyond that.
Even against the wishes of the Democratic Party, that was like, "Hey, get
Yes.
out of here! Hey, we need to have a primary." They're like, "Nope, we're not going to do any of that." That was very
If he was truly like, if he wanted to redeem himself, so the first time he ran for president, it was selfish. By continuing to run for president in 2024, that's unbelievably selfish. And then by dropping out last second and making it so that Kamala would be the only option for the Democrats, I can't even think of a more selfish way to act in this particular situation.
I wonder if he hadn't ran, if RFK would have been the nominee. I mean, they would have tried to cheat him like they did Bernie, but I wonder if he could have
They cheated him heavily. They cheated him from the very start. And I think this is why they had these kind of implementations of not opening it up as a primary, because they probably saw the numbers, they saw the favorability, they saw the arguments he was making. And you know, there could have been a situation, and I was talking about this years ago, where it could have been RFK versus Donald Trump.
Yeah.
But I think the DNC did everything in its power to try to bring the two together, whether on purpose or by accident, and they did. And now they're a pretty big force, especially now with Tulsi Gabbard, especially now with all these other kind of anti-establishment figures kind of coalescing around Donald Trump, saying, "Hey, you know, Donald Trump lost a lot here. Not only money, not only influence, not only when it came to a lot of his properties, not only when it came to his time, his stress, but also his life. They literally tried to take his life, and they almost got away with it."
Yeah.
Quick explanation as to why I'm leaning towards supporting the guy is that exactly what you described, but just to add to that, RFK Jr., Vivek is like my guy. I think that he's as close to a libertarian in the non-Thomas Massey level of the Republican Party. Obviously, I like RFK Jr. when it comes to 2020 retribution. I love the anti-war push. I love the non-interventionist stance that many in his camp are now in favor of. And then he's also talking about ending the Department of Education and bringing a libertarian into his cabinet. This is a level of power that the libertarian movement broadly, lowercase L, and capital L, let's be honest, Angela McArdle has been negotiating much of this. It's the most power libertarians have ever had in American politics in my lifetime, and therefore I feel compelled to at least give it serious consideration, and you know that's my reason.
Angela has been doing incredible work. She's one of the very powerful, amazing people behind the scenes that are truly pushing a lot of very important issues to the front of the line. As of course, it's fair to say the libertarians will be deciding this election. They're a major base. They're the individuals that usually don't vote. They're on the sidelines. I know, Andrew, you want to say something, but I want to kind of finish my thought here, because truly, a lot of people are libertarian. They don't participate in the kind of political system. But I think Donald Trump is creating a situation where they kind of realize we kind of have to step in here.
Yeah, what I wanted to say is it's so funny because I like Angela. I was at the Libertarian Convention with both of you guys, and I like Angela. I think the party's doing better, but at the same time, they nominated Chase Oliver, who's, if you look at some of the things he said, doesn't sound very libertarian to me.
Yeah, but if you're going to be counteracting Joe Biden, what better person to do that than with Chase Oliver, who is as woke could be. He's on the same kind of policies as a lot of the people who are protesting the DNC are, that are not going to be voting for him. So, what better way strategically, if you're looking at the ways that all of this is kind of assessing here, I think the Libertarians made a great move because it works out in the long run for a larger favorability towards taking away more votes from Joe Biden rather than Donald Trump.
I love the way it worked out in that there's no good option for libertarians to vote for in the Libertarian Party, and hopefully it does force them to vote Trump. But my point being, it's funny, the Libertarian candidate is not a libertarian. The Democratic Party hasn't had a real Democratic vote in years and years. They cheated Bernie twice.
Yep.
They just boxed out Robert Kennedy and didn't let them have a real primary. So the Democrat is not a Democratic. The Libertarian is not a Libertarian.
And in some ways, the Republican isn't a Republican. So it's like, I think that what we're witnessing is a major. I don't know if I'd say it's a polar shift, but certainly a turnover in the labels of what these parties represent. The Democrats, in my estimation, are becoming increasingly technocratic, socialist, whatever hybrid name you want to give it. Some of them are actually overt communists. The Republicans are divided between this old guard kind of neoconservative wing, which obviously I would love to see dissipate as quickly as possible, but then this kind of America First, populist, right-wing, non-interventionist, limiting regulations, increasing capitalism. I like that. So I think that's the hopeful aspect of things. Is like in the early 2000s, the Republican Party I perceived to be probably the arch enemy of libertarians, and now it's very much the inverse of that, and I think that's healthy.
Another thing to be hopeful about is the latest decision that just happened in Brazil, where the Supreme Court backed down and no longer will be seeking to impose nearly a $9,000 fine for Brazilians who used VPNs in order to access X. Now, I think they did this for a number of reasons. There's also a lot of individuals that have been changing their VPNs to Brazil and then accessing Twitter, so the government there won't be able to track down a specific individual that they were threatening to fine. As of course, the average monthly salary for a Brazilian is about $2,000. This fine of about $9,000 for accessing it for every incident, for every action here, was absolutely egregious. It was meant to scare people, and now they are backing down, highlighting how free speech still under attack in Brazil, but with the use of Starlink, with the use of VPNs, could still be accessible, and the government there can't do anything about it. That's a great sign. That's a good white pill for me. I don't know about you guys, but major win. Even though they pushed the goalpost pretty far and took 2 steps forward, this is their 1 step back.
I just want to use this opportunity to ridicule Glenn Greenwald, the journalist that railed against Bolsonaro and talked about how evil he is. And now he's upset that Twitter's getting banned in Brazil. Well, guess what, Glenn? You shouldn't have pushed for the commie to win in Brazil. Bad job. And I hope you realize what a terrible thing you did and that you shouldn't have worked against Bolsonaro.
Yeah.
I think that's a fair point. I'm not familiar with Glenn's advocacy when it came to the Bolsonaro-Lula election, but I'll take you at your word that he was in fact in favor of Lula. Lula's a disaster, but let's be honest, this really isn't about Lula. This is about Alexandre de Moraes, the Supreme Court justice, which is essentially not the president, but rather the dictator of Brazil at this junction. My personal opinion, I don't think the U.S. State Department intervened. If anything, the U.S. State Department was probably cheering along because they would love to see X deplatformed, not just in Brazil, but all over the world. But I think that it more so has to do with the fact that all of the tech companies would have probably started to pull out of Brazil. It would have been absolutely destructive to their economy. And I think that they feared that.
Yeah.
So
Well, there's still a lot of implications here, as of course the bank accounts connected to Starlink are being frozen.
Yep.
So just even a couple weeks ago, Elon Musk had to, of course, pull the company out of Brazil because they were trying to arrest the legal representative of that country, of Twitter inside of Brazil. So this is a major issue, and as Bill Ackman puts it, this is still going to have some larger kind of ramifications here, because if you're a business and you're trying to invest right now in Brazil, you're probably thinking about alternative options. You're probably looking at places like, Argentina, that Elon Musk complimented just a couple moments ago. We'll be talking about that in just a little bit. But Bill Ackman kind of makes a good kind of larger economic perspective point here, saying, I'm not opening up any businesses. I'm not doing any business inside of Brazil since their government arbitrarily punishes people for their political thoughts and expressions. And again, this all started because the Brazilian government went to big tech social media and said, you're going to censor these political voices. You're going to censor these journalists. You're going to censor these politicians. They're not doing anything wrong. They're not doing anything violent, but we still want you to censor them. And a vast majority of big tech social media companies complied. Twitter said, I don't want to do this. We're not doing this. And there started this larger fight, this larger conflict that now has literally ended with Twitter pulling out of Brazil, having their bank accounts frozen, and now, Brazilians being threatened with $9,000 fines, which now was officially kind of overturned here. But that's how far it went. And if I'm the CIA, I'm the State Department, we got to understand, it's the CIA and the State Department that helped Lula become the president of Brazil. They're the ones that kind of endorsed him. They're the ones that sent officials down to Brazil to help them win overwhelmingly over Bolsonaro. And it's a very kind of interesting move, which kind of ties into what we were talking about earlier, a deliberate sabotage of the Western world, since under a Lula presidency in Brazil, the Brazilian government is more favorable towards China. Bolsonaro was more favorable economically towards the United States. If you're the United States, you want the biggest country in Latin America to do business with you. not the Biden administration. They literally sent down government agents to help the Chinese-linked government win in that specific election, which kind of shows you where their priorities are at.
Yeah, that's why this election is so important, not just for America, but the fates of so many nations. They're tied to us. Bill Ackman, that's exactly who I was going to bring up too. He called Brazil uninvestable. I feel like I'm saying it wrong. Did that sound right?
That's right.
Sound right? Okay, like they've ruined that country. It's becoming a commie hellhole like Venezuela did a few decades ago. And more importantly, I was listening to Luke and thinking about the ramifications of social media and what they're trying to do. Well, we know that Facebook in our country is doing that now. Alex Jones still banned from Facebook. Many right-wing voices have been censored in many ways by Facebook and other big tech companies at the behest of the CIA, whatever government officials. And Zuckerberg's been putting on this charm offensive, trying to get right-wing people to like him because he has a pretty good idea that Trump might win. Well, too bad, buddy. Too late. He's made no real steps. He's just putting on a charm offensive. When Trump gets in office, Trump better kick these people's asses. Facebook needs to face major penalties, whether it's antitrust, investigations into what they did to people that were fraudulent against the law, whatever it might be. Facebook has to face a lot of penalties under Trump. We can't let these people get away with what they did.
Well, there's a new book claiming that Donald Trump threatened Mark Zuckerberg would arrest if he gets involved in this election. And that could be one reason why Mark Zuckerberg is on this kind of retribution PR marketing train that he's been on recently, as we also got news, according to @Leading Report, that he claims that he did not realize that the $400 million he spent on the Zuck bucks actually helped the Democrats, which, of course, they overwhelmingly did, as, of course, the places that didn't take the Zuck bucks didn't overwhelmingly vote for the Democrats. Places like Florida. Other places, like Georgia, overwhelmingly had new Democrat voters that, of course, came out and voted in record numbers.
Just a coincidence, though.
Yeah.
Just a quick addition to your point, and I agree with most of it. It's not enough to just fine or go after Facebook or any of these platforms that went along with censoring the American people. You need to prosecute the government officials that were responsible for dictating terms of service changes amongst these social media platforms. If the government doesn't pay a price, they were the ones that were coercing these companies. I am as angry with these companies as anybody, but let's be honest, the federal government has immense amounts of power. They were being threatened with the removal of Section 230, which would have made it so that these companies could be sued into oblivion. They were scared to death. This happened in 2019, actually under Donald Trump. It was the Congress, but still. And I think that the lessons need to be taught across the board, not just in corporate America.
I agree with you from a what I want standpoint. Like, I would love to see these companies punished because they are impeding on our ability to communicate freely. Like, even on YouTube, you can't communicate freely about specific, there are multiple topics that I want to talk about on this show that I couldn't because of the YouTube laws. However, it's difficult because these are private companies. So what law exactly do you want to use to enforce freedom of speech? The First Amendment only applies to governmental entities.
Well, no, there's case study. If you want to look up the Supreme Court rulings on this, but it has been heard many times and ruled over and over again up until this most recent ruling, thanks to Amy Coney Barrett, where if the federal government is prohibited by doing something, which in this case is First Amendment violation, they cannot use a private corporation to violate our rights.
Yes, the government cannot be involved in helping a corporation violate our rights.
But
however,
the
corporate, and I get that, but then you would sue the government. You wouldn't sue the.
That's my point.
You're both saying the same thing.
Yeah.
No, but I thought we were talking about going after Mark Zuckerberg.
I was.
Okay, under what specific law?
Go for his assets. I think antitrust.
Look what they're doing to Elon Musk. What they're doing to Elon Musk is going to be probably the same thing that they're going to be doing to Mark Zuckerberg, opening up all these investigations, blocking him specifically with tax incentives, denying him a lot of information, and not participating and not working with him and not giving him the favors that, of course, all these other people who play ball with them do get. So there are a lot of underhanded things beyond just the legal apparatuses that are happening behind the scenes, as, of course, a lot of people are saying Elon Musk Musk's life is at risk here. And I would absolutely agree with that, as of course he's facing a lot of major security concerns, as he is a thorn in the system. And just watching everything that happened, specifically in Brazil, this to me is the beta test. If I'm the State Department, if I'm the CIA, I'm not only trying to orchestrate a lot of this, but I'm trying to see how exactly Elon Musk will respond. Will he be using Starlink? How will people respond? How will the local population respond? There's so many weird similarities between Brazil and the United States. They had their own J6 kind of moment. They had their own kind of election that people questioned. They had this kind of right-wing suburban kind of crowd and a left-wing, very diverse inner-city crowd that are at odds with each other. If you're going to be testing out how to block a free speech platform, a major social media company, if you want to see how they're going to react and beta test it with probably a dry run of what they're trying to pull off here in the United States, this is the perfect way to do it. This is the time to do it. So if I'm the CIA, I'm watching every little thing right now. I'm making sure that we're going to see how they react so we could respond to them for the real plan for when they ban it here in the United States.
Brazil is the CIA's testing ground for the United States.
Absolutely.
I agree
Exactly,
with your
and that's why they're doing this. I did a special video for members of LukeUnfiltered.com just about this specific topic and how what we're seeing in Brazil is the dry run for what's happening, what's going to happen in the United States.
By the way, the reason I believe that is because I had Addy Ads on my show like a year and a half ago. Whenever the election in Brazil was happening, and he was actually on the ground, and he said he was being threatened by CIA assets. I don't know, he didn't know for sure. For his coverage of the election during that period. Yeah. And he was 100% confident of this.
Yeah, the Biden administration sent State Department officials connected probably to the CIA and probably other CIA officials to help Lula win that particular political race.
All of this is why my pinned tweet for like the last 6 months or 8 months or whatever has been something that Ron Paul said to me on an interview. Like, we need a prosecutor to prosecute the prosecutors. Like, what the deep state has been involved with Trump and with everything.
That's what the AG is.
Yeah. And do you know what doesn't run dry? Biltong, our sponsor of this particular video, as of course I needed to think of a particular segue as we are going to be moving soon to a free speech platform. Before that, we want to tell you about this great company. It's a family-owned company, and it's an awesome, incredible snack that I personally like. I personally enjoy. They support a lot of independent media. The ingredients are legitimate. I really like this. This is something that, of course, we officially kind of endorse here. Check out landofbiltong.com, promo code WRC for free shipping, promo code WRC10 for 10% off purchases over $45. Again, Biltong, family-friendly snack, low in carbs, packed with protein, making Biltong the ultimate health snack. Biltong is a great source of iron and serves as a source of several other essential nutrients, including magnesium, potassium, and B vitamins, which translates into exceptional gains in all aspects of life. If you follow any high-protein, meat-based diet, Biltong should be an essential part of your diet. Landofbiltong.com. We will be putting it in the comment section. And if you want to, vote with your dollars, support companies that support us. Land of Biltong is one of these companies, and the products are legitimate. And Clint gets exclusively paid just in Biltong.
That's right, and I am overflowing with Biltong. But no lie though, Angus is unbelievable, and Anton's awesome. But the product itself, like no exaggeration, best jerky I've ever had. I know it's not supposed to be called jerky, but that's kind of what it is.
Clint's an expert in jerky.
That's right. I am a professional jerky guy. And anyways, this will be. I think this will be a really successful, like, nationwide company at some junction. So you guys check it out. You will not be disappointed.
No, absolutely, I agree. They do a lot of good stuff. And dealing with them, because I deal with a bunch of different like sponsors and advertisers, has been one of the best things. They literally family-owned business. You can't be supporting anyone better in the industry than Land of Biltong. So check them out, support them. They're fighting their own battles with the state as well. So definitely go check them out. We still have a lot of different things to talk about. Elon Musk had some very interesting things to say about Javier Milei. There's a lot of elections that just unfolded in Germany that also are very eye-opening. There's a situation in the Middle East. Andrew just got blocked by what's his name? Jake Shields. We're going to be talking about that. You've been involved in so much drama before. Going to the next platform. Where can people find out more information about you? And then what do you want to talk about on the next segment?
I usually say Twitter, but Elon's been doing so good lately. I'm going to give it to him. It's x.com/theandrewmeyer. Go there, follow me. I'm pretty awesome. And play the Alex Jones game, alexjonesgame.com.
Lauren, where can people find you?
You can find me on X, Instagram, YouTube, Lauren De Laguna, DeLaguna.
At Liberty Lock Pod on X, we're gonna debate heavily the Tate brothers persecution, prosecution, whatever you think it is. It will be a banger. Don't miss it. Liberty Lockdown's the show. You should subscribe to Liberty Lockdown. New episode dropping tomorrow. I was also on with Tom Woods yesterday. That'll be out later this week.
Yeah, we have your show in the description, so people could go in the description and click Clint's channel.
Perfect.
And subscribe to his channel.
And you can find me on X at StephWRC.
All right. It looks like we still don't have a new caller. We have an old caller. But if you want to be a new caller and you want to participate in the conversation, sign up to lukeunfiltered.com. I'm in the Telegram group right now talking to everyone. And if there's a new caller, we will be going to you. That could be you. Go to
New callers
lukeunfiltered.com.
get precedent. Just so you know.
Yeah. Love you guys. Stay tuned for more on the free speech platform that we are currently on the front page of. Yeah. This is where the conversation continues. Right here. As we are currently on the front page of this particular platform that YouTube doesn't like us to talk about.
Rhymes with Bumble.
And that photo of Lauren is rough.
I know. I'm aware. I don't know why you chose that photo.
It wasn't me. Our production team.
Was it Clint?
No.
Clint hates me. I don't get it.
He doesn't hate you. He hates your people. We'll get into that. We'll get into that all on the next platform.